Throughout history, the spirit of patriotism has prevailed. The battles may have changed, but the values remain the same. Today, in 2024, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Because this year is not just any year, it's the most important year since our nation's founding. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Well, I tell you what, we've got three chairmen of the boards with us: Michael Paul, Gene Valentino, and Frank Sinatra. That's what all the people say.
That's what they say. Yeah. So joining us this morning on our great radio show for Friday, Gene Valentino, the Velvet Hammer. Good morning.
Your Velvet Hammer has entered through stage 2.
Studio C.
Studio C in the Biloxi, Pensacola region.
That's right. In a bunker. That's right. Okay, so Gene, a very good Friday to you. We got a short week this week, 4 days. We had a holiday, but there's still a lot going on in Washington. You know, these tariff things, the judges that said the president, for some reason, I mean, I don't know where these people come up with this stuff, but they want to run the executive branch. They say, you know, you can't use tariffs, even though there's a law out there that allows the president to do that. But then they were overturned pretty quickly. Within 24 hours, they were overturned, and they said that, you know, the appeals court judges said the president can use tariffs until we get some sort of end to this case. This is going to the Supreme Court. But in any case, there's just so much going on. And then you've got the folks that are sort of milquetoast Republicans that don't really, they claim to be Republicans, but they don't really, they talk about it too. Oh, I'm a Republican. But when it comes down to the bottom line, they don't vote right. And so we got a problem here. What do you think what can we do about it?
Well, thank you for having me again, Michael, and good morning, everybody. Republican lawmakers who oppose DOGE budget cuts should be primaried and replaced. That's my opinion, and so says one of my producers who's been harping on me to make that point clearly. I'm now out of the box, and I agree with her. Republican lawmakers who have gone too far in trying to play this game of mediocrity and four sides of the fence have got to go. And the same initiative needs to go against these Democrats who are about to come back into office unopposed, who have been more crazy than ever before. The United States Congress sat silently by and did nothing with tariffs before Donald Trump and allowed Biden to take a position on it. And of course, he had no position on it and didn't effectively exercise and use the tariff authority. But Congress dropped the ball. If the tariffs sit in the control of Congress, where's Congress? Back to my first point. Primary the idiots who aren't doing anything. You can't blame it all on Trump. We've got to make sure that the United States Congress, if they're going to set policy into place, that they execute on it. They haven't. They've been self-aggrandizing, self-serving, feeding their own pockets at the expense of you and me. And now sailing out today under a nice meritorious departure is Elon Musk. He's being properly honored by President Trump as he approaches these 130 some odd days of service under his contract. By the way, not every Biden administration contractee followed the same rules, but Elon is. And in that short period of time, he managed to move a mountain too. And he turned around and created billions of dollars of cost-saving measures. So we've got a Congress that's saying, well, the cuts haven't gone far enough. Elon Musk's cuts exceed. Your cuts pale in comparison to what Elon Musk has done in 120 days. Shame on the United States Congress that Donald Trump had to bring Elon Musk in to solve the budget problem in the first place. It's the budget, as you and I know, Michael, is codified by the United States Congress. Where are they? Get rid of AOC and the rest of the ilk and get people in there who can legislate and lead and balance a budget. Now, here's my analogy. Then I'll come up for air. We need to take a hard look at what has to happen in the budget reconciliation process constructively. While I brag about moving a mountain overnight, that's also very dangerous. You cannot get the total spending cuts in place immediately without hemorrhaging the economy and the stock market on the other side. There's a transition. Let me make the point in layman's terms. I've got a gasoline-powered car. I'm buying a Tesla, a battery-powered car. I'm driving to the dealership to pick up my new Tesla. But halfway there, the car runs out of gas. Because of my principles, do I not buy a gallon of gas to get to the dealership to get rid of the car? No. You transition. You get the gas for the gas-powered vehicle so you can get to the electric car retailer to pick up your new Tesla. And that's what's happening with Congress right now on the budget reconciliation process. The hemorrhage, the speed of the transition is historic by any standard in history. And they're making fun of the speed of the balancing of the budget. These certain congressmen, they need to really move on and stop showboating here. They need to work with President Trump's and specifically Scott Bessent, who's put together a masterful strategy in transitioning our economy. And then our good senator over here in Florida, Senator Rick Scott, since day one, Michael, he's been talking about a true balanced budget. You and I came out of politics and government where we were required to balance a budget at the local level. We didn't have the privilege of this crap of just going deeper in debt at the taxpayers' expense. No way, Jose. We've got to let the government of the United States, under the direction of Donald Trump, which has proven to move in lightning speed already, give him another 6 months, folks. Give him another year. He needs to transition a budget over a year or two so it doesn't hemorrhage the stock market.
Well, he's only been there 4 months, and a lot has been done. I mean, you have to admit this is, well, you said it best. It's moving at light speed. No administration has ever been able to put together the things that Donald Trump has done over the last 4 months. Now, there's some out there. Let me just say this. The Senate is also a problem. You mentioned the Congress. The Senate is a part of the Congress. They're the upper chamber of the Congress. But you've got folks out there like John Cornyn, who is I call it milquetoast Republican. He's on the bubble of being, he could go either way. And so, Texans are actually looking at that right now. They've got their attorney general who is currently running against Cornyn. And it looks like, according to the polling, Gene, that Cornyn's in a little bit of trouble. And that's unusual for a sitting senator So people are starting to, I think, recognize that you have to have team players that are willing to stick with the team. You see, a lot of times it's hard because you're not getting any credit. You're just out there fighting for the team. You're doing your blocking or whatever it is, and you're not getting a lot of credit. These senators are prima donnas. They want to be
prima donna's the right word.
Yeah, they want to be in the center of everything. They want to be, the ones out there on TV. They want to be. They love all that stuff. And so when they're not the center of attention, then, they don't know what to do. But in any case, we've got to get some of these senators as well who are really not real conservatives.
Yeah, last night on the news, you had Senator Ron Johnson, good guy, conservative generally speaking, but this notion that he wants to get more of the budget transitioned. We've got an economy that's exploding at the same time for the positive. We've got a waiting line of nations trying to strike a tariff deal with Trump, fearful of their future as well. We've got new alliances being formed literally overnight, and we need a budget that can transition during that process. Ron Johnson has gone a little too far as a Republican. That's amazing for me to say that because I think he's a good conservative, but I think he's gone too far on this issue with the budget. The United States Senate needs to cut the slack and give Trump's administration, Scott Bessent, Elon Musk, which should never have been there under DOGE in the first place, if Ron Johnson on the Senate and Mike Johnson on the House side were doing the job in the congressional chambers, if they were doing their jobs the way the Constitution mandates they do, they would have been balancing a budget. Hey guys, how about the term that you and I had in college? It's called zero-based budgeting.
Right.
Zero-based budgeting says, never mind we spent $20 last year on pencils. If we don't need pencils this year, don't tell me you need to increase the budget by 10% over last year's $20. We don't need the $20. No one's using pencils. Use your iPad and draw it on your iPad. That's what I'm getting at. We need to revisit divisions, agencies, and subdepartments of government in a global sense, and you'll find many more billions of dollars that Elon Musk didn't have a chance to get to in these 100 days.
I agree. And one of the other things, there was a big hullabaloo about the raising the amount of taxes that you could deduct from your federal taxes from blue states, because blue states have the most taxes, right? So but remember this, when you start thinking about this, you have to think about the fact that we have a lot of Republicans that are elected out of blue states, and they were trying to deliver something to their constituents that would be material, that they can say, hey, I got you this. And there were so many people that didn't want to do that. But you can't think like that when you're trying, it goes right down to the fact that you can never get something 100%. If you can get 80%, right, you're gonna do fine. We can't survive with a majority in the United States Congress without getting some of these blue state Republicans elected. So you have to do things sometimes, is my point, that you don't want to do, but you got to do it because you got to protect those guys too. They need something to help them. And just because these folks live in a blue state, that doesn't mean they're not conservative or they don't support the Republican Party. So, it was sort of a punishment to the blue states to sort of get their attention. But I think it's okay to raise it a little bit. I understand why they did it.
Well, New York State spends about $235 billion a year. That's their spending. Florida spends about $125 billion a year. Now, both states have nearly the same number of people, but Florida doesn't have an income tax.
Yeah.
And Florida's paying its bills. And
That's
Florida's not going into debt. They're reducing debt. And they're doing it off a sales tax use service fee system of revenue for the state of Florida. Now, if you compare the blue state of New York against the red state of Florida, can you see why part of the nation gets angry that we give New York state taxpayers a break in the way they pay their income taxes to the federal government by allowing them to deduct their state income taxes from the federal 1040 is outrageous. And therein lies the hemorrhage that most congressmen have to get behind, but won't for political reason.
That's right. All right, Gene, have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us.
Be well, buddy. See you soon.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to announce the next generation of energy drinks, Rev 7. It has no sugar and no caffeine. Instead, Rev 7 uses Go BHB. Go BHB is one of the body's primary ketones, and it provides the most efficient and clean fuel that your body needs. It also helps you stay energized all day with no crashes. Not only that, it produces 3 times more brain energy than sugar, which helps boost your memory, focus, and mental sharpness. It also helps reduce stress and helps balance your mood. Rev 7 does all that while being the best tasting energy drink ever. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% today. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7. For a limited time, you get our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. I drink Rev 7 every day, and I absolutely love it, and so will you.